get with fine beach.
We get with sunshine. Ah,
We get fine bobo them.
whoa now. We get fine TT them. Whoa now.
We get with diamond, bauxite and kimberlite. Better day. Now for that make we tell you say,
We like we salon. We like we salon.
Mama Salon we like you.
Hello and good afternoon. Let's get real, family. I'm still in Sierra Leone. It's a beautiful Tuesday afternoon. Welcome to Let's Get Real with Haja, the Freetown Sierra Leone edition. Come on here. So today we're gonna be seeing someone exciting. I'm not gonna reveal who that person is, but if you wanna find out who that person is, come on with me, come on. Let's go see who that person is. So guys, today we're gonna be meeting Marian Kaikai. She's a fashion icon and a fashion designer, the CEO and creative director of Madam Wokie. Come on guys, let's go meet her. Hello! Oh my
thank
God!
you.
Hello!
Hi, welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you for meeting me. This
please
is
take a
beautiful.
seat.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is so nice.
I know.
Oh
I love
my
the.
God.
I love the greenery. I have green fingers.
It's
I love
beautiful.
plants. Thank you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh.
Do take a seat.
Love it.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. So tell me, who is Madam Wokie?
Oh God. I keep getting asked this question so many times. Just a workaholic. An entrepreneur who loves to empower women, who loves color, who loves tie-dye.
I love it. That's a lovely
So
print,
that's
by the
all
way.
I've been wearing for the past 3 years. My
even
fabric is
tell.
actually made by the women from our skills training program. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love it. Where did you derive the name from? Is I know you're
So,
very Kaikai.
yes, so the name Madam Wokie was inspired by my maternal great grand aunt, who was a paramount chief from a chiefdom called Blama Masakoi, and she didn't have any kids. So her nieces and her nephews named their favorite child Wokie. And so, of course, when I was starting my brand, and my grandmother, and Madam Wokie was actually my grandmother's aunt. And when I was younger, my grandmother always used to move around with this picture of Madam Wokie and the late Queen of England and her. And I'm like, okay, when I start my brand, I'm also going to name it Madam Wokie. So yeah, that was how I got the name.
I love it. I love it. Take us through a typical day in the life as the CEO and creative director of a renowned fashion brand. What does your morning routine looks like?
My morning routine, I mean, every day is different. So for example, I wake up first thing in the morning, I check my emails, take a shower. Sometimes I hardly have breakfast, and I go to town, source my fabrics, pick out the dyes, and then we start production of the materials. And sometime in between in the afternoon, I'll be like, okay, let me just order something from Crown. So I'll call Fadi. I have him on speed dial, and he'll.
Thank you, Fadi.
And of course, my friends come to Unimax. Unimax SL will, deliver my food, have a lunch, supervise my team, and yeah. And then again, my day starts with me checking my emails. My evening ends with me checking my emails.
Oh wow!
And if I have time, maybe I'll look at on Netflix to see something interesting that's on.
And you follow that religiously.
That's my routine, but sometimes it changes because there are days that you might have to have meetings with partners. So, for example, in the past year, we've worked with the Ministry of Tourism, we've worked with the Ministry of Tertiary Education, we've worked with the World Bank. So, let's say, for example, there's a phone call in the morning, and we need to have a meeting with you later on in the day. I mean, my routine changes. Yeah.
All right. So you kind of adapt as
yes.
you go along.
Yes.
Sweet. How do you balance the creative aspect of your role with the business responsibilities? Can you walk us through the challenges and reward of wearing both hats?
I think it's very hard. Being an entrepreneur, you don't have a life. That's the one thing that I'll say to people. You don't have a life. You're working 7 days a week. There are no days off. So I think, finding that balance for me has been very hard, and I've been in business for over 14 years. It's really hard. You have to let go of a lot of things. You have to make a lot of sacrifices, especially when you give yourself goals and targets that you want to accomplish. You have to let go of a lot. So, I mean, it's quite hard. One thing that I'll honestly say, I haven't had a social life in like over 2 years.
Oh my goodness.
So there are times where people don't see me, my friends don't see me. They're like, oh, we hardly see you, we hardly go out with you, because I just don't have the time. I mean, it's just really hard because you have bills to pay, you have rent to pay, you have staff that needs to be paid on time. Your fabric vendors have to be paid on time. Like, it's just you feel as if you're constantly chasing bills upon bills. So I mean, just having that balance is like very hard. I mean, I have to work even on Sundays.
Oh, wow.
Like, if a client places an order, I have to deliver on time, because that is money that's going to go towards either paying a staff or maybe buying new products. So I mean, having the balance is quite hard. Yeah.
Oh, I can imagine. In the fast-paced world of fashion, how do you stay inspired and maintain your creativity over time? Are there specific rituals or practices you follow?
So I love visiting art galleries. There are artists that I feel very inspired by. There's a guy called Francis who does amazing artwork with old Budos. Colonial buildings, so I like visiting his studio from time to time to find inspiration. There's also Howard Jane and Josephine Dowder, who do really nice abstract, thought-provoking paintings. So I love the use of colors. So I tend to be inspired by that. I'm also somebody who loves the garden.
I see, like, okay.
So yeah, so I mean, sometimes I can spend, let's say for example on the weekends when I do have the time, I'll spend most of the day just relaxing here and just daydreaming and thinking about new designs, new colors, new patterns. So yeah, I'm heavily inspired by nature, and once in a while just driving along the beach, and seeing, I mean, Sierra Leonean women love colors.
Yeah.
So just, I play with colors in terms of the patterns that they wear and stuff. I think I also get inspired by that. And then, I think lastly, going to raiding my grandmother's closet, because she has like tons of cases of clothes. She has like trunks of clothes in her room. So I'm very inspired by the 1980s, the 1970s, the 1960s, because a lot of those old designs are coming back. So I love reading her wardrobe for like new designs. I feel very inspired by that. Yeah.
What key decisions or strategies have contributed to the success of your fashion brand, both from a creative and a business perspective?
So from a business perspective, I think putting people at the heart of what we do, I think that is what separates us from a lot of designers that they have out there. COVID for me was a time of reflection. I was somebody who used to love playing with patterns, used to love producing a lot of pretty pieces, like couture, over the top pieces. COVID for me was a time of reflection. I thought the fashion, I mean, I started coming to the realization that the fashion industry is, of course, one of the most wasteful industries in the world, because we produce tons of fabrics that we sometimes don't always use. And I just told myself I needed to take a step back, and reevaluate what fashion means to me. For me, I thought to myself, fashion is not just about creating beautiful clothes. It's not just about making something new every day just because a client wants something new every day. It's supposed to have meaning. And so during the COVID, I think we produced about 100,000 face masks within a week during the pandemic. And after that, I kept thinking to myself, and of course we hired 100 tailors who had it produced within a week. And I kept thinking to myself, what do we do next? Like, what do I do next? And I just thought to myself, fashion is supposed to create impact. Fashion is supposed to change lives. Fashion is supposed to tell an authentic story, And so with all of those thoughts going through my head, I kept thinking to myself, okay, well, how do I inspire and empower the next generation of women that are coming up? And so there's a call for proposals on skills training, and I thought, okay, perfect. I need to branch off a bit. I need to refocus my energy on training women who might want to go into the creative industry or the creative field, but they didn't know how. They didn't have that person who could sort of like hold their hands and guide them. And so we started the skills training program with about 280 women. And there were a colorful mix. We had people who were university graduates who didn't have jobs. We had women who had dropped out of school either because of teenage pregnancy or their parents just couldn't afford to continue paying their tuition. And so I just said, okay, well, how to bring all of these people together? And so I rented a bigger space at Babadori. I think we rented a 3-bedroom apartment. And this was actually during the COVID, and we started with the training, and it was a whole different ball game. Just getting them to change their mindsets, getting them to change their perception. Because at the time when we started doing the Gara training, some people were like, "Oh, I'm a university graduate. I don't think this is up for me." And I'm like, "Listen, I'm also a graduate, but you don't have a job, and you need to earn a living. You can't just depend on your parents." And so when they started earning an income from what they were making or from what we were teaching them, especially with the fabrics, that was when they realized that, oh,
money they
do, she must be onto something.
Yeah.
And the impact has just been amazing. And so for me, I feel as if that is the future of my brand, putting women first, because I feel as if there are a lot of women in Sierra Leone go through a lot of challenges. And there's so many things that are sort of like holding us back. You know, there is society's pressure on, you know, women to get married early, have kids, and, you know, raise a home and stuff. And I just think that we have so much just holding us back. And at the end of the day, we have to, I mean, especially when we're climbing up the ladder, it doesn't make sense to us to be climbing up and then we leave the rest behind. So for me, that's a whole, especially through fashion, I want to use the platform that I have, that I've been blessed with, to, you know, to take other women along. So that's what we've been doing with our skills training program.
Love it. So I like how you kind of change things, you know, kind of like a game changer, and it was like, yo.
And for me, honestly, I mean, that's my story. I remember when I started 14 years ago, I graduated from FBC. I remember one of the secretaries at Farby College saying to me, oh, you know, she was, because she knew me when I was in secondary school, when I went to Lima, and she was like, oh, you know, she came from this good home, good background, she graduated with a good result, but oh yeah, look at what she ended up becoming. She ended up becoming a tailor. Right. And I heard that, and I said to myself, I'm like, in a few years time, I'm going to go back to you and tell you that my chosen profession has taken me places. I remember, I think she made a statement in 2009. And I think in 2013, there was U.S. State Department funded program called AWEP, African Women Entrepreneurship Program. Where in 2013, we're invited to the U.S., I think for about 4 weeks. You know, we visited different ministries, had conversation with different CEOs of multinational companies. And of course, the climax was meeting with the Secretary of State. And we took a picture with him. And I remember coming back to Sierra Leone, and I said to her, I'm like, listen, you look down upon me. You're like, oh, you know, this lady with all her education, with all her background, like she ended up becoming a tailor. I'm like, this tailoring that I'm doing, I'm like, I'm now meeting with the Secretary of State of the United States of America. I'm like, you're still stuck at Farby College. You know, and for me, it's just, there's dignity in whatever profession you find yourself. And I think it's very important for people to understand that as long as you have a good idea that's unique and you brand it in a way that's very attractive and you believe in what you're doing, it's very easy for you to have the right people to support you. Right. You know, and I think the traditional, we don't have enough jobs for university graduates in Sierra Leone. Yeah. And the reality is people have to branch off into non-traditional jobs. You know, and we're not doing that enough. I mean, even coal, like somebody who sells coal, people don't realize that you can make toothpaste out of coal. You know, so there's so many things. I just feel as if we need to, yes, exactly. I mean, look at black soap. Black soap back in the day, no Ghana days, and everybody's like, no, I only want to use pears and stuff. But guess what? Everybody's going back to a traditional product because it's unique. Exactly. I mean, now we did Pahamatan. I mean, it's cold in the evenings. Now, don't need and socks are the way. You know what I mean? So I mean, we need to, I think perceptions need to change, and I think we need to go back to the drawing board. Like there's so many things that our people used to do back in the days, in the 80s and the 90s, that are so relevant to now. And people, I mean, everybody wants to buy a product that's unique, that's different. Look, coal pots, coal goose, you know what I mean? I mean, people want something that's unique because it reminds them of their childhood. So I think it's very important for us to be able to reevaluate what it is that's important, and just have that drive to succeed, you know, because life is already hard.
As a style icon yourself, how do you personally approach fashion? Are there any fashion philosophies or rules that guide your personal style choices?
No, I don't have any fashion rules. I don't have any fashion rules. What shall I say? Like I said, I feel very inspired by the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. I love going through my grandmother's old pictures and, you know, family members and, you know, who used to wear a lot of these gowns and a traditional outfits like the country cloth and stuff. So I'm very inspired by that. I remember I had an uncle who used to wear the country cloth all the time, and of course he'll wear them with these Muslim slippers that we can call karanke,
Yeah.
like
Oh
and then
my God,
karanke
I
have back,
love
yes.
it, yes,
So
yeah.
I mean, for me, it's just one of those things. I don't want to look like everybody else. I've done it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm at that stage where I'm like, it's all about comfort. It's all about, you know, being true to my identity and being true to my heritage. And I feel as if culture plays an important part in terms of how I dress. You know, I like going somewhere and being authentically me as opposed to looking like everybody else. I say I have about, I'm sure I have about 20 to 30 designer shoes in my wardrobe. I hardly wear them nowadays. I'm like, most times I'm always in my gowns. I have them in so many different colors. In tie-dye, I also have them in the traditional fabrics, which were the country cloth. And these were gifts that I took from family members, but they have such historical value because these are fabrics that have been around since the 1960s and 70s. So nowadays I think I like collecting a lot of old clothes from family members because it's just unique, it's just timeless. Yeah.
Could you share a memorable moment or project that has left a lasting impact in your career? Something that stands out as a significant milestone or a learning experience.
There's so many. There's so many. There's so many.
Give us your favorite one.
It's hard to pick a favorite. That's the thing. It's hard.
Okay, just give us anyone.
God, there's so
It's
many.
Madam Wokie.
There's so many. Okay. I think, you know, having a custom-made piece for Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. I think that was something that was quite interesting because I had less than 3 hours to produce something custom-made for her, and I had just met with her at the Radisson. And she was like, oh, you know, I just want something that's comfortable. And she had a dinner event in the evening, a dinner reception at the consulate. And I had less than 3 hours to come up with something nice for her. So I think that was something that was unique. We also had the Congressional Black Caucus that were in town. We had to do Gawa tie-dye boo-boo gowns in eclectic colors for all the visiting diplomats. I think that was something that was also quite exciting. You know, producing face masks during the COVID pandemics for all the doctors and nurses, just to like thank them for their service. That was something that was also quite. That was also something that left a memorable impact in my life. And then, of course, you know, the market traders, you know, producing like 100,000 face masks in partnership with Antonio Rudiger Foundation, the EU, Freetown City Council, and Lunchbox. I think that was also something that was inspiring. So they're actually, honestly, it's crazy. There's quite a lot. Okay, I think it was in December. I had the privilege of dressing two first ladies, the first lady of Nigeria, Tinubu's wife, and the first lady of Angola. So that was also something quite exciting. So there's always
You can only go higher from here.
there's always something new happening every year, every month or every year. I think I'm just constantly on the go. I'm just constantly like trying to keep myself busy. I think for me that's the most important thing. And then also just the journey of, you know, sharing the stories of the women who produce our fabrics and how they're made in a sustainable manner. I think for me that's the most important thing, really. Yeah. But I'm constantly, I don't always look back to say, okay, well, I did this, I did that. I'm always just looking forward. Yeah.
You ain't funny.
We try our best. Yeah.
All right. So, in your role, collaboration is crucial, right? So, how do you foster a collaborative environment within your team? And how do you choose the right collaborators for your brand?
So I think with the team it's always been important to have the right people to work with. I think it's very important because most times without the right team working with you, you know, you start having a lot of issues. There are things like trust issues, there are issues about, you know, copyright in terms of your design and stuff. So I've been very blessed in the sense that I've been able to find the right people to work with over the past couple of years. And, you know, of course, when you get to that point where somebody thinks, okay, I want to move on to something else, you know, I'm happy for them because at the end of the day, you can't stay in one place for too long. In terms of brand collaborations, we've had quite a few. We did a collaboration with Labrom. It's a fashion brand based in the UK. We've also collaborated with government ministries in terms of the skills training program that we're doing, as well as the World Bank. So for me, it has to be right. There has to be, with any type of training that I'm doing, number one, I'm thinking about the vision. Number two, I'm thinking about the impact that the collaboration is going to have. And if it's something that's going to share the stories of the women that I work with, I'm definitely on board, yeah.
The fashion industry is evolving rapidly. How do you navigate trends while maintaining the brand's identity? What do you believe sets your brand apart in this competitive landscape?
I think trends come and go, and I feel as if you're constantly following trends, you're not being authentic to yourself, because you're following somebody's idea, somebody else's vision. And I think for the longest time, especially when you think about African art, when you think about African creativity, I feel as if there are pieces that have been so unique to us. And, some way, somehow, because we're constantly chasing trends and what's new or what's in fashion, we end up losing our brand identity and our brand DNA. Right. I have been guilty of that. I'll tell you that for a fact. I've been guilty of that. I remember when I started 14 years ago, it was all about using our authentically made in Sierra Leone fabrics, using the Gawa tie-dye and using the country cloth. And that was my authentic story. And somewhere along the way, I just kept thinking to myself, okay, I need to come up with something that's unique. I need to come up with something that's very trendy that the people are going to buy. And, I got caught up in that. I got caught up in that web where it almost felt like I was doing something similar to what everybody else was doing. Yes. And I think I got to that point where I'm like, I need to take a step back. I need to focus on me. I need to focus on what the brand's DNA is all about, and now I'm seeing the impact. I got to that point where every trendy fashion that came out, from the maxi flared skirts, from the over the top baggy trousers to the cargo pants, it's been done over and over and over again. And somehow you get lost in all of that. You're like, okay, so where exactly am I? And now I just feel as if I had to take a step back. I'm like, okay, if you see a product that Fendi produces, or you see a product that Loewe produces, it doesn't matter how crazy it is, people will wear it. So I just feel as if, when it comes to like brand identity, when it comes to like authentically made in Sierra Leone products, I had to go back to the drawing board and create something that I thought was authentic to us, and somehow, eventually people will get it. I remember when we were producing pieces with the country cloth, we had mixed reviews. We had people who were like, oh my God, this is so nice. This is so unique, because we played around with colors. And we had people who were like, oh, this is nice, but it's too thick. We wouldn't necessarily wear it. But then when you saw the right people, when you saw people playing around with the patterns and the designs, they were like, oh, this is something that I could try. And we did that for quite a couple of years, and everybody loved it. I remember we played around with the Creole print pattern on country cloth. It had never been done before. We were among the first sets of people to mix the country cloth and the Creole print pattern. It had never been done before in bright, eclectic colors. And everyone was like, oh wow, this is unique. This is something, this looks different. And we did it for a couple of years. It worked. And then, of course, I'm not going to lie to you, I follow trends like everybody else. And after some time, I'm just like, okay, you know what? I need to go back to the drawing board. I need to go back to what made me unique. And so that is what I'm doing, especially with the gowns. Because the thing is, I also want to create pieces that are timeless, that are not going to go out of fashion, that you can hand over to your grandkids. Because a lot of the stuff that I select my grandmother's wardrobe, these are pieces that she's had for over 60 years, and they're still trendy, they're still good quality. So I think the priority now is creating pieces that will last, but pieces that also tell a story, pieces that also create an impact. I think that's the focus for me. Yeah.
Tell us about the process of translating your creative vision into a tangible fashion collection. What steps do you and your team take from concept to the runway or retail?
Normally what we do is for fashion events, what I normally do is we come up with sketches, and then we come up with we decide on a color or pattern that we think is in season, and then we try to bring the vision to life, wherein we get the tailors to cut out some of these designs, and then we have a model, an in-house model that we normally use, and we try on the pieces on her, and based on what the design looks like, we try to do we try to add certain pieces to look over the top, or try to remove it based on whatever vision we had at that point in time. So yeah.
Love it.
But I haven't done shows in 5 years, because the reality is fashion shows are expensive. I used to do that quite a lot, and I also started thinking about the environmental impact of constantly flying from one country to the next. I remember we used to do shows in SA, and then from SA there'll be a show in Nigeria. From Nigeria there'll be a show in Dakar, South Africa. Yes. And so I just feel see even the environmental impact, we're constantly talking about climate change and how we can combat it, and the reality is these shows, I mean, flying from one country to the next, I mean, imagine your carbon footprint. So I just feel as if at this point in time, I just want to take a step back on creating beautiful wearable pieces that will last, that also isn't affecting the environment. I think that's the way to go.
As a leader in the industry, how do you approach sustainability and ethical practices within your fashion brand? What initiative or strategies have you implemented to address these concerns?
In the area of sustainability, I try not to overproduce. I produce what it is. I produce a limited amount of pieces every month in a sustainable manner. I try to use less electricity. I try to use, in terms of sourcing the fabrics, I try to use, I try to transport the goods in an efficient manner that doesn't burn a lot of fuel. So let's say, for example, I have a car, but I use the car twice a week. So everything that I need to buy, I make sure I buy it within 1 day. So that way I don't constantly have to, burn fuel to source for my materials. And then in terms of the fabrics that we produce, we use sustainable dye.
Okay.
And
what is that?
So for example, some of the fabrics that we use natural natural product from the earth. For example, cola nuts. Nobody's ever thought about this before, but a lot of the fabrics that we use cola nuts, and then we use natural material to also get some of the colors that we want. Yeah, and then with the
more kind of natural ingredients.
Yes. And then also in terms of the country cloth that we use to produce, we have people that produced our own cotton. So they're the ones that wove the fabrics, and then we're able to play around with the colors. So yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah. And we don't use a lot of electricity when producing the pieces. And like I said, we produce a minimum amount of pieces every month, and there's almost zero or no waste, because most times if there's any leftover fabrics, we turn them into recyclable products. So for example, we make cushions, we'll make chair covers. So yes, we try to have zero or no waste.
Love it. Love it. So it's 2024.
2024.
What's next for Madam Wokie?
Oh God.
What do we expect this year?
Well, 2024, we're going to continue with our skills training program, but we're not going to have it limited to Freetown. So we're going to go to the rural areas.
Okay,
we're going to Bo, we're going to Kenema, we're going to Port Loko. We're going to
get a taste of Madam Wokie.
Yes.
It's about time.
I think it's very, with the skills training program that we're doing, Freetown is in Sierra Leone. So I think it's very important to extend it to the rural areas, because there's been quite a lot of demand. We've had so many requests from people in the rural area saying, oh, you know, when are you coming up country? When are you coming to Bo? Or when are you coming to Botloko? Or when are you coming to Solima? So, and then, this new year, it's already...
child anymore.
No. No, we're taking it to the rural areas. I mean, we've done a lot of work in Freetown. So far, we've trained over 1,000 women, I think, which is great.
Yeah.
And now I think, you know, I think the rural areas is ready for us.
Yeah.
So
Get ready, guys.
Yes, I'm so excited to go to some of these far away areas. But yeah, I mean, it's quite a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it. I think my team and I are up to the task, so we're super excited.
Love it. I'm excited for the future. Can't
Thank
wait to
you.
see all
Thank you.
their beautiful, vibrant prints.
Oh God,
that are gonna
thank
be
you.
coming.
Thank
But
you.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for stopping by.
All right.
Thank you. So we just started doing a limited collection of this, but not that many. So at least when you travel, if you're going somewhere over the summer,
Yes,
you have
definitely.
your
Oh my
summer wardrobe
God.
covered.
I can wear this boat somewhere.
Exactly. So you have your summer wardrobe covered.
Thank you.
So yeah, so that's
Thank you. Thank
so
you.
safe
my God.
journey, because I don't want any delay for anything.
Yeah,
So come up to her. So at least you have your Madam Wokie gift when you're leaving.
So guys, yes. I got a gift.
You did.
Work out for nothing, it better pass it on for nothing.
Almost close, yeah.
So yes, I can't wait to style this. I'm not gonna reveal it yet. You know, you're gonna have to stay tuned. You know,
Exactly.
when I do, I will definitely put the link, and you know, you can check her out. So thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Wokie.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.